Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we are reviewing and adding 6 brand new characters to the Transcended character tier list. The best Transcended characters and the worst, unfortunately, Transcended characters tier list. So without further ado, this is what I was able to come up with 2 months ago. We ranked them from Busted, aka the Moonstone tier, all the way down to sort of the Yikes tier, which have very, very minimal use. Keep in mind, all Transcended characters have some use because of story mode fragment farming, which is a very real way to boost your farming of tier 3 materials through fragments, and they can always serve a purpose. You swap over to them, you pop their awakening skill, you swap back over to another character. So, Transcended characters, they still have value. They still have value, even the worst ones. But anywho, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the brand new characters. We have 6. Starting us off with the 3, well, Supergiant's over there, but the 3 characters from the last update: Human Torch, Invisible Woman, and Thing, and then Supergiant, Cull Obsidian, or Black Dwarf, and Corvus, his brother, added in this latest update. And so we're gonna move them to their spots, but before we do that, before we rank them and sort of, before I tell you where they should be, what I actually want to do is talk about characters who have moved around a little bit since the last 2 months that I did this. So unfortunately, we are going to move a couple of characters around. Most of the time, the characters are actually moving down, but I'll explain why as I go through. So first off, we're actually going to move Iron Fist down. It's not that Iron Fist got worse, it's just that other characters came in and they're much better. And so basically, as the pool gets larger and larger, you have to be more and more exclusive, and you have to be pickier with what you grade, right? We can't necessarily put other characters up here on the godly tier with Iron Fist if they're sort of hand and fist ahead of him, right? If they're pacing twice as fast as he is, then they shouldn't really be on the same tier. The rest of the characters here actually do deserve to be here. They do deserve to stay here. The only reason why I'm not moving Luke Cage is because he is still a mainstay for PvP, and he's basically blocking out almost any other physical damage character from making any noise in PvP because of his Reflect. So I may be a little bit overstating his value here. Some people would definitely drop him down to Demigod. If you're not talking about PvP at all, then he drops down to like the useful tier. But I do think he deserves to be here because he is one of the very few who's been able to stick around, a couple of months after his release and actually still go toe-to-toe with Sentry and Molecule Man and these big, heavy hitting teams. And it's basically only a Blast Jean Grey that can really counter him consistently. So that is in itself a really impressive thing. The other thing I actually wanted to do is move up Spider-Gwen to Demigod tier because of her value as a speed villain. Now, there is a better speed villain coming, and moving Iron Fist here actually does lower the value a little bit of Bullseye and Mystique, but the value of Bullseye and Mystique is being lowered by you-know-who down here. So, it sort of makes sense, but it also follows logically. But yeah, she's pretty good, and she stands to gain value, and she stands to keep value because of Mephisto World Boss Legend, her ability to heal, her proc-friendly rotation, things like that. So that is basically how it shakes out. Now we're going to add the brand new characters, starting off with last month's Human Torch, Invisible Woman, and Thing. And we're going to start off with Thing. Now, unfortunately, Thing only really has one thing that he's able to thing, and that thing is being a buff for Human Torch and Mr. Fantastic, and in some cases, Invisible Woman. Obviously, Human Torch is the best out of the 4 of them for PvE content, so if you're talking about the best support for him, you are talking about Thing. He can also support Maker / Mr. Fantastic, and of course he can support Sue. But outside of that, Thing really has no value. He doesn't have any PvP value. He doesn't have any other PvE value. They did add all defense down, ignore immunity to his 6th skill, so he could do a one-shot for you, but that is not really a reason to have a character built up. So in my opinion, he probably lands somewhere around Jessica Jones's level of value. So I'm actually going to put him ahead of Jessica Jones. It's a little bit awkward because I think Jessica Jones has more of an impact in PvP than Thing does in PvE, but PvE is just a much bigger part of the game than PvP. So I sort of have to give him a slight edge there. But it's a little bit misleading to put him so close to X-23. X-23 can do solid damage. Thing, I'm not so sure about that. So he's being, I want to put an asterisk around Thing. He's definitely here. He's definitely higher than he should be. Honestly, he should be somewhere around here. But he is definitely being propelled up because of how good Human Torch is. Human Torch is really that good, and so I don't really want to waste time anymore and not put him where he belongs. Yeah, he belongs up there, definitely. Now, some people may disagree with this. Some people may think that Moonstone is better because Moonstone occupies a... Now it's not as rare anymore, but she did at the time occupy a much rarer position in the game as a villain, as a blast villain. So she could do a lot of the villain stuff. She could do a lot of the female villain stuff for ABX. So she had that edge on Human Torch. Human Torch, though, might be better than her for Danger Room Extreme. He's definitely better than her for early World Boss Legend climbing, because you need to use male types, you need to use heroes, and that's all Human Torch, and you need to use, well, humans, she can do humans, but, you know, male and hero, he's got that covered. And then he's so much better for story mode fragment farming. He blazes through that content, and that actually does kind of matter, because that's a lot of content that you have to rip through every day. And so knowing that Human Torch is going to speed it up for you, especially if you don't have all of the characters, but you just want to speed through it as fast as possible, plugging in Human Torch into every single team that you run, and then bringing along the 1 or 2 characters that you do have the fragment bonus for, will actually save you a lot of time. Even if it saves you just 2 or 3 minutes a day, over the course of a month, you're saving an hour and a half. That's a big deal, right? That's a lot of time to spend on something else or whatever. So yeah, I do think he's better than Moonstone overall, and I have zero, like, he's so good on my roster, such an easy rotation. You know, he's definitely, in my opinion, easier to play than Moonstone. Moonstone gets guard broken a lot. That's the other nice thing about about Thing and why he jumps up so much. He gives Human Torch super armor, so he doesn't get guard broken nearly as much. But, you know, very, very easy combo, 3, 5, 6, 4, and you just cancel, you can cancel 3 right away, you can cancel 5 when you see the big tornado, or you can cancel it right away if you want. You cancel 6 when after he does the spin, when he's pushing his hands down to shoot at the flames, and then you just let 4 ride out. I do think that he has a bit more of a consistent rotation than Moonstone does. However, I will say that Moonstone does more damage with her standard 1 to 5 combo. Her standard 4 cancel 5 cancel 3 combo does more damage than Human Torches, because she's constantly applying accumulation to herself, but you don't get the accumulation on every rotation. You get it on every other rotation because of how long the cooldown is on 4. So their damage outputs might actually be quite similar when you know, aggregate it and then average it out. But yeah, she does seem to have a bit more burst than he does. But they're both amazing. Like, you cannot go wrong. And I think if he wasn't here, he would be here, and everyone would agree. So yeah, I don't think this matters too much. And then last but not least, we have Invisible Woman. Now, I never got on the Invisible Woman hype train for PvP. There are some people that are still on that hype train, but unfortunately, I'm just not one of those people. So I really don't see her value. Honestly, to me, she just seems like a worse version of some other characters. The value is there for PvP, sure, but it's nowhere near the value of someone like Luke Cage. And she's not going to carry a team on her own. And on the flip side, she doesn't have many synergies that you're going to be able to take advantage of in PvP. Like, for example, Luke Cage, he's providing this crazy leadership and these crazy passives to other really good PvP characters like Daredevil and Jessica Jones and iframe ignore and things like that. Her passive only applies to herself. You're not going to bring Thing into PvP to give her super armor. It's kind of a weird thing to do, and he gives boss damage increase, which doesn't apply to PvP. So he doesn't actually synergize with her in PvP. Neither does Human Torch. Neither really does Maker. So honestly, she's just a worse version of Thing, because she just has no PvE synergy, and she had like PvP support synergy. And what she's good at in PvP, she does it alone. So I'm not sure that the devs really hit it out of the park with her design. In my opinion, I think they should have made her more of a PvP team support in the way that Jessica gives the allies, the defenders' allies, all these buffs, right? Mind immunity, damage reduction, a heal. All they did for Invisible Woman was they bumped up her invisibility for herself, and they gave her a damage reduction for herself. Now, if that damage reduction was for all allies, and if Thing was better for PvP, or if Maker was really good for PvP with like iframe ignore, or, you know, reflect ignore or something like that to counter Daredevil, to counter Luke Cage, then maybe she could be up in the demigod tier. Honestly, I don't think she's that far off. But as it stands now, she's sort of like a standalone, like lesser PvP option. So I just don't really see how that makes her very good and very good beyond useful tier type character. So that is how it shakes out for the Fantastic Four. I honestly think they were a really great addition to the game. They did, you know, build out a paradigm of characters that we hadn't used in a long time. And that's really mirrored in the next 3 that we get. We basically got 3 solid heroes with 1 insane standout in Human Torch. He just like, you know, blazed ahead of everyone else. And now we have 3 super balanced options. Like all 3 of these Black Order members, if you haven't seen the videos lately, they're amazing. Really, you could not go wrong ranking up any of them. But I'm going to try to rank them now against one another. So we're going to start off with the character that I think is the least good of the 3. I don't want to say worst because, like I said, these characters are so freaking good. But I do think it is Corvus. Now, I do think Corvus is going to belong over here in the godly tier because he is occupying a space that basically is uncontested. Best speed villain in the game. So he immediately has to go ahead of all of the other speed villains that we have, right? And then he's definitely faster than Iron Fist. He's better in ABX. He's better in World Boss Legend. He's also going to be way better against Mephisto, so that's an important thing to consider as well. He's also a villain, which is a very rare tag with the speed tag as well. I think he's gonna do much better than both of these characters, although they have support buffs. But yeah, so that basically puts him here. You could probably say he's better than Luke Cage. It's kind of tough here. You know, the thing is, he's actually better than Gambit. I would say he's better than Gambit for World Boss Legend. Is he better than Beta Ray Bill? I'm not sure. I might honestly put him here just based on the fact that Moon Knight is here because he's also able to do 3 weeks of ABX, but Corvus is actually able to do 2 weeks of ABX. So it's kind of a tough call, but I do think he's very, very good. This could go kind of either way, but yeah, he's a very, very good character. And he's got a very simple rotation, 5 cancel it, 5 when he slams down, cancel that into 4, ride that out, and then pop the 3 at the end for the buffs, the healing, and the all defense down if you're playing a World Boss Ultimate or something like that. And then again, he's got that amazing awakening skill with Thanos in the Black Order that just does awesome damage. And the best part about Corvus is if he dies, you can just go ahead and have him revive, right? So you get to start all over again. But yeah. So if Corvus is the weakest of the 3, so to speak, where are these 2 cats gonna go? Okay, let's cover this one. Let's sort of get this one out of the way here. Supergiant. All right, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag here, but I actually think Supergiant is the best transcended character in the game. Yeah. I know that's going to maybe deflate some people waiting for Black Dwarf because he's not going to be as good as her, but she's crazy. She's the best. She's now the best villain and the best female for ABX. So she just chopped Proxima on DOA, and she just chopped Moonstone's place. She has a crazy easy rotation with an obelisk. She's super flexible in the build because you can give her an obelisk with mind damage, you can give her CTP of energy, you can give her a CTP of judgment. So she's got a lot of ways to be built. And unlike any of these other characters, all the way down to maybe Corvus and then definitely Luke Cage, she has serious PvP potential. Not as much as Luke Cage, I will say that, but way more PvP potential than any of these characters here. She's got iframe ignore on her highest burst damage skill. She's got lots of damage reduction, 33%. She has increased resistances. She does suffer from the same thing that Luke Cage and Rogue suffers from. She's not on this list, but she's basically hard countered by Jean Grey because Jean Grey has over 100% mind resistance. So unfortunately, Supergiant just has to dodge teams that have Jean Grey. But besides that, she's honestly quite good. Multiple iframes, healing, iframe ignore, damage reduction, and lots of crowd control that she can sneak in once your leadership goes on cooldown. So yeah, honestly, she's the total package. And for what it's worth, because the characters in Busted all have one thing in common, is that they're insane for Danger Room Extreme. I'm gonna release a video later today to show you guys just how bonkers she is in Danger Room Extreme. I thought he was hot a month ago. Bro, she turns the stove up to 12. It's crazy. Now, last but not least, we have Black Dwarf. I don't want to leave him to the end because, you know, he's not as good as Supergiant, but he's still very, very good. So I'm actually tempted to put him here. I really am. He's a very, very good character. I think the problem with Black Dwarf is going to be like a lot of other combat types, and why there's only 2 combat types on this tier, and there's only 2 combat types on this tier, and then there's just a whole bunch of combat types in these last 2 tiers. The problem is there's just not enough content to go around for them right now. There isn't enough content that requires combat heroes, and Moon Knight basically has that on lock. Moon Knight and Venom do. And then for combat villains, for whatever reason, the devs have just designed Apocalypse to the point where even though his uniform is almost 2 years old, he's still holding down that spot for ABX. He's still holding down the spot for combat villain ABX. I have hope that maybe Black Dwarf can take it away from him, or Black Dwarf can match him, because Black Dwarf's a much cheaper investment than Apocalypse at this point. But man, it is just a little bit hard to make the case for combat villains and their usefulness, given that there's just so few game modes. You know, if Mephisto was a speed type, this conversation would be completely different, because Black Dwarf would be giving it to Mephisto day and night. But he's a blast type, so it's literally the opposite. He's still good for Mephisto, but he doesn't have that advantage. He's not gonna plow through Mephisto with that 60% increase, right? And so I'll say what I always say about combat types. They're a little bit undervalued now, but as soon as we get a speed world boss legend, or any other big piece of content, if we get like a new GBR boss, or if, you know, when Hell freezes over, or like, you know, whatever happens, right? If we get a new big piece of content and there's a speed boss somewhere, their value is going to skyrocket. And much like Corvus and Supergiant, he's got a super easy rotation, just 4 cancel 5. If you have a CTP of energy because of the chain hit, you can do 4 cancel 5 cancel 3, because 5 has the accumulation, so you always want to pop 5. And he's got one of the most satisfying skills in the game, because he has a near infinite spinning skill. So if you love, you know, spin to win, Cyclone in PoE, Barbarian, Whirlwind, and Diablo, you're gonna get that. You're gonna scratch that itch every time you play as Black Dwarf. You can move around while you're spinning. It's really satisfying, and it actually does very good damage. So like I said, with a CTP of energy, 4 cancel 5 cancel 3, or 6 delayed cancel 4 cancel 5 cancel 3, big boy damage, big boy chain hit. And of course the chain hit just keeps going up and up because you're holding that third skill, and he's just spinning, and you can use it defensively to dodge the tornadoes, or dodge the time clock freeze, or just move away from null, reposition him, whatever. So he's a very flexible character, and I think he's in very good company personally in the busted tier. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of the new Transcended character tier list. My microphone keeps blocking my hand. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.